Most people know Max Brown for his rugby skills, banter and great storytelling. But even he hit the wall trying to run faster with just standard workouts. Something wasn't adding up, so we put his speed to the test using some pretty cool software, and what we found out totally changed his plan. So I'm going to show you the data and our new approach for Max using the Sport Speed system, and how you can use the same blueprint to boost your own speed. When Max came to me, he had all the right numbers in the gym. He was strong under the bar, ticking every box for basic strength, but on the field he wasn't making the impact he wanted. Many rugby athletes hit the classic strength targets, but that doesn't always translate to game-changing speed. And trust me, I've worked in international and premiership professional rugby. Let me show you the real minimum standards. You might actually be really surprised how achievable they are, because there's a really important lesson that I'm going to show you later on in the video. Let's take the back squat. For men, really it's only 1.5 times body weight, and women 1.2 times body weight. The reason why is this builds the forward power you need for the first 5-10 meters of acceleration. The glute ham raise, an exercise that people fear and ignore. For men, you want to be able to achieve 6 to 8 reps, women 4 to 6 reps. Clean. I prefer glute ham raises over Nordics because you can recover really quick with them, and Nordics actually don't even help. But I'm going to do another video about that, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Bench press. Men, literally 1 times body weight, and you don't want to hear that, and women 0.8 times body weight. Upper body power does help with arm drive and projection in sprints, but that's about it. But remember, rugby, we need mass, and also men, we just need to be jacked in life. Let's take a look at chin-ups. Men, 20% plus body weight with 1 strict rep. Women, body weight plus 10% for a strict rep. This tests your relative strength and arm power. Some of my fastest athletes always produce the best scores in this test. Makes sense, right? Faster people have a general higher relative power than slower ones. Now these are the good ones that we're getting to. A standard 2-footed broad jump. In men, if you can jump over 2.10 meters, okay, you're gonna be translating that strength to horizontal power quite well. Women, 1.7 meters, because the reason why we need to work on this, and these are the bare minimums. Now I'd expect a lot more from a lot of people, but this helps build your explosiveness, and this has been shown for years and years and years. Now we've gone from a single jump, we're going to go to a triple broad jump. Men, you need to be hitting well over 6.5 meters. Women, well over 5.2 meters. That's 3 broad jumps in quick concession. This will show your ability to maintain power and rhythm over several steps, which is key for acceleration. Can you keep pushing forward and stay controlled and not faceplant? You might be closer to these numbers than you think, and that is actually great news, because it means you already have the potential to run faster. Now, it's not just about reorientating your training to unlock that speed. So let's dive into the software, and I'll show you what you can learn from Max's speed breakdown. Okay, so now we are in the software that I use to analyze all my athletes and Max in questions. What's really interesting about Max when we first start is noticing that his start is really, really good. This first step drives out big explosive push, and not many athletes can get that from team sports, but he has a really, really great start. This is why specific speed training for someone like Max is really important, because when you can hit all the gym numbers, we're going to actually start to see what is really left on the table. If we run through and see some of this information, his max speed is 8 meters per second, which gives us a solid top speed inside 20 meters, and his 20 meter time is 3.23. That still has lots of room to grow. We want that under 3 seconds if we can. When we look at sprint training and acceleration, we consider things as a step-by-step approach, which is one of the frameworks inside my sports speed system. And when you think about doing things in the gym, you can understand that every rep in a sprint is
equivalent to a step. We're going to look at step 0, this is step 1, and then into step 2. You can see that as we come through. So what happens here, we've got a great normal start. We have excellent projection, which is throwing his center of mass forward. But what happens into step 2 as we come through to here, you can see it drops to a 0.93 meters in distance. That's a staggering over 30 centimeter difference between step 1 and step 2. This shows an early asymmetry, and I know Max has had a few knee issues, so that's going to start showing up there. And what this suggests is that he does drive forward, but he does lack a little bit of rhythm and coordination early on in acceleration. So as we move from steps 3 to 8, as we go through, you can see him developing and run forward. If we stop it there, his ground contact times and his distances do kind of roughly stabilize. His stride length does climb consistency, and when we're looking at sprinting, we're maximizing the time on the ground and the time in the air to create a rhythm. This gives us our frequency, and he's locked in at about 4.6 hertz, which is 4.6 steps per second, which is really, really high, which is really good leg turnover, which is why you see many team sport athletes moving really, really fast, the equivalent to some elite level sprinters. What this does give us is that he has a really good refined middle phase mechanics, and that's really common in team sports, because if you look at all those steps as we come back through, this is where Max plays most of his game. Most rugby players play most of their game. From a mechanics point of view, we are seeing that leg come up and round the back. From an angular point of view, that's a little bit of wasted energy, but we solve that further on, and we'll show you later in the program how we aim to fix that for him. And what he's actually doing, which is really nice for someone like me, is that his gym numbers are being backed up. There's no room. Max doesn't need to get stronger in the gym to improve his speed, which is amazing. And you may find yourself in that situation as well, and now thinking, well, what do I need to do? So as we move later into this 20 meters, so that's 10 meters covered. This is the second 10. You're able to see we've got a 152, 167, 163, and a 181. So his stride length actually hits 2x. 1.8 is excellent for field sports. It's really, really fast. And his ground contact times drop to 0.12 from 1.4. He shaved 200ths off. And that may not sound like a lot, but it is a huge amount, because the force that he's actually converting into speed there, it has grown a lot. So what this does suggest is that he's moving, and we can see that he's moving into upright mechanics really well, but his frequency does decrease. So his leg speed, his turnover actually slows down as his strides get longer, which gives us increased air time, which really can show us a couple of things. But what we look at here is maybe he's sort of reaching out. So if we go over the last couple of steps, is he kind of pushing forward? Yeah, I'd say a little bit, trying to find the ground in front of him rather than attack the ground underneath him. And this is showing, and where many team sport athletes fail, is the relationship between the force limits, which the gym can create, versus elastic coordination limits, is what we need in speed. So just to recap, he has a really strong, consistent rhythm. He's got excellent ground contact profile. His step length builds really well to 1.8, and his gym work is showing up really, really consistently. What does need work, which I'm going to show you how we're going to program that in the next part of the video, is we need to focus on his first two steps, because like a stack of dominoes, if the first one doesn't fall properly, then everything else is going to be compromised. Longer time in the air, in his later steps show there's a bit of a elastic limitation. So we're going to work on how do we train elastic qualities. We'll focus that into his program, and the frequency is slowing down. So his ability to create leg speed is slowing him down, which gives us kind of like a loss of rhythm and contact. So this could be a bit of postural breakdown that we're seeing, and a bit of timing. So
now we're going to jump into my coaching software, and I'm going to walk you through the exact program that we have been using to fix all these issues.
Now that you have seen all the data and the information that we've created to have a good understanding of Max's profile, we also know that most of his traditional gym work is carrying over to his speed really well. So how do we build a program that focuses on elastic rhythm, building first and second step explosiveness, to actually change what we're doing? Because we know, and you know watching this video, if you can make those improvements, it's definitely going to show up on the field. So one of the first mistakes that many athletes and coaches make when trying to train speed is actually doing things too fast. Speed is a skill, and in order to get transfer of training in these qualities, we need to find exercises that teach the body what positions to be in and how to be moving and controlling in them. This introduces us to specific and special strength. So in this exercise, we're teaching Max the correct knee angles that he needs to develop his first and second step. Now, these may not look too taxing, but trust me, holding them for 10 to 20 seconds per position, one leg off the ground, that is really exposing to train the quads, hips, and hamstrings in the correct way. So that's one of the key exercises that we use on this day. On field, we make sure we do specific activation and then our specific running drills. The next exercise that we use always after that, and this is going to help Max with his upright stiffness and developing elastic rhythm as part of the warm-up, is called a front side bleed. Here's an instructional video of how you can start using them in your training.
Now we're going to look at build-ups. Very simple. The idea is working with an athlete in order to continue to increase the frequency, the velocity, the amplitude of movement, the decrease the ground contact times, access bigger ranges of motion. It's how we build into our runs, dribble bleeds, whatever you want to call them. And we start very simply nice and low, bouncy, and we're just slowly, in our own time, keeping the hips nice and high, building ourselves up. I have deliberately done that at slower ranges, slower velocities, purely so you can see and understand the benefit of the movements.
We focus on a 3-step system called learn, load, and execute when focusing on developing skills within our athletes. I'm now going to show you the 3 instructional videos that we use to teach these positions. We have our ankle full range series, which is going to teach his ankle to be strong in the specific positions. We have our load and smash, which is taking our body through a range of motion and developing explosive hip movement, which is going to start the rhythm and development of our first 3 steps. And then we use a 3 exercise cluster of kneeling wall shoots, half kneeling accelerations, and something that I call long accelerations. These are the 3 key areas that we're using to develop Max's acceleration, upright stiffness, and elastic rhythm very, very easily, and you can do the same.
The full range ankle series puts us in an acceleration specific position and allows us to target the ankle joint through calf raises which specifically condition the joint at angles it's needed in acceleration. We start on 2 legs because this is actually a lot harder than you think, but then we progress through the series and adopt a stagger position similar to our 2-point stance. And what this does is it creates excessive length on the right calf in this video and shortens up the left calf, and we alternate sides, and this slightly increases the complexity and difficulty of the movement and trains the calves at very different angles. We finally progress to the hardest stage where we isolate 1 leg at a time. Having the hips further forward drastically increases the weight that goes through the athlete, creating a really high specific strength stimulus.
From here, what I'm going to do is just take that foot off and leave it out the back. The reason why I leave it out the back is I want to really encourage that push. If it's just off the ground there, we don't get the change. We don't get the depth that we need. So from here, just behind the back, push. Okay, and from a coaching point of view, what you want to see is this near side hip, the extension of this coming through and passing flexion with the hips moving forward. You want to see everything time and then stop. You don't want to see rise of the front thigh, okay? You don't want to see overextension of the hip. We want to push and stop. Our kneeling setup is really, really important for this. What you want to be able to achieve, let me change legs for you, is you don't want to be out here. That's not the position that you want to be in. You want to have the ball of your foot in line with the instep of your knee. Why? Because it pushes you into that position. It's where you need to be. And when you first start, you should be able to just get into that position on the wall. All right, that's how you find that starting position, because you know from here, there's only one way that I am going. That's all that I can achieve. That's all that I can do. So from this position, I've got my instep. It's nice and clean. My intention is to go forward. So if I just start leaning, then it's going to happen for me. The shin will drop. You just have to keep your shoulders down and angle to where you want to go, and that's forward. In order to improve your top speed, you have to sprint, but you don't have to sprint maximally, all right? You have to use this concept that I call long accelerations, all right? And I'm going to draw a simple graph on the board for you, all right? It's going to show you exactly how you're going to use it. So hopefully you can see this. All right, we have this gradual slope and we have a few different zones within this. So these are the 3 zones. We're going to start at 0 and this is going to be 50 meters, okay? So in this space here, we're looking at about 40 to 50 meters. All right, then all this space here is our build-in zone. So how you conduct a long acceleration is you start on the line, you start quite slow and you gradually build up. And my goal for you is not to be at 40 meters running 100%. The magic number is 80%. I need you running at 80%. Why? Because at 80%, you're not trying too hard, okay? You're much more relaxed and you're much more compliant with the situation that you're in, and that requires so much.
Max is a great athlete with a ton of potential, but even great athletes do plateau without the right data. For you to realistically improve, you do need some accurate testing to demonstrate some vital benchmarks. The tool that I have put in the description below will help you start measuring your sprint times so you can actually see where you are, where it matters. Test yourself and put your scores in the comments. I will give you some feedback so you can just start to make improvements in the areas that you need. And if you're in the same spot as Max, you're hardworking, strong, but not getting faster, you don't need more hustle. You need a better program based on your body and what the data is actually telling you. Now that you know some of the key benchmarks and the process behind speed development, let me introduce you to the secret muscle that you've never trained that I guarantee you will improve your speed in the next video.